Dear Az, I think I might be addicted to YouTube. I don't know if this is even a thing, but I've noticed myself watching hours and hours of videos and wasting away an entire day online. I've even had conversations with myself during a video, almost begging myself to stop, to get on with other things and be more productive. Is all of this normal? And if not, how can I go about breaking the habit? I think this is becoming more and more common. And the addiction to, in this case, YouTube, often can be switched out. Whether it be an addiction to YouTube, to watching TV, to Netflix, to pornography, to substance abuse, to certain people, to other activities. What it really is it's an addiction to the habit of distraction. What all of these things are distractions from what you know is truly important. What you know your focus should truly be on in that moment of time. That feeling that you spoke about getting, that voice in the back of your head that tells you, that begs you to stop watching the videos. That's your rational human mind. I think I've spoke about the chimp paradox before. If you haven't checked that book out, then I highly recommend it for exactly this situation. It's this, you have this inner voice of exactly who you want to be and what you want to do. We all do. We have this perfect version of ourselves in our mind that is very productive, gets up early, goes to bed at a reasonable time, gets all its work done, manages its stress, manages its relationships. It's this ideal version of us. The reality is that a lot of the time we don't meet this expectation. We promise we're going to get up at 7 a.m. the next day, eat a healthy breakfast and go for a workout. We crawl out of bed at 10 to 9 the next day, skip breakfast and only just make it to work on time. The ideal version and the reality of who we are. Now, some people are better than others at managing this, at actually living up to that reality. And what this is really is it's the habit. It's the habit of saying you're going to do something, saying you're going to behave a certain way, and then acting on it with action. Affirmative, definite action. What you're addicted to is not YouTube. What you're addicted to is the distraction that YouTube has provided you. When the deadline's coming up, YouTube allows you to distract. It stops you having to face the reality of what's really going on in the world. You're turning the other cheek. You're looking the other way. You're burying your head in the sand. The difference is that you're just filling it with mildly entertaining media. You're filling it with what I refer to as white noise, the analog TV noise. It's this just emptiness. But what it does is it fills the space where really you need to be sitting down and whatever it might be, being creative, being focused, being completely and utterly involved in whatever it is you are meant to be doing. So it might be your studies. You might have an exam coming up, you've got that deadline, and the pressure of studying and preparing for this test becomes too much. And your body and your mind's way of saving yourself is to quickly distract away from the anxiety that's building up in you. And so by watching a few funny cat videos, and then moving on to prank videos, and then moving on to some vlogs, before you know it, the day's gone, you've run out of time for the studies, you need to get your sleep, you need to go eat that meal, oh no, you've got that appointment, you've got to go see your friend, and you've skipped the anxiety and the stress that the studying was giving you. At least that's what you think you've done, but really you're compounding it onto the next day because that deadline gets closer and eventually you get into panic mode. You're going to cram that last minute bit of revision and study in, and you're going to not do as well as you knew you would have had you had followed the plan that you had set out in the first place, had you had listened to that voice that was distracting you. So in answer to the question, is it normal? I hate to use that word. I don't think normal is even a thing. And in this situation, I think what you're asking is, really, is it healthy? Is it healthy to watch 5 hours of YouTube? And the answer to that is really answered by yourself, because you're telling yourself to stop. You're telling yourself to, as you put it, be more productive. Now, if your job is watching YouTube videos, you've been very productive. If your life goal is to watch loads of YouTube videos, you've been very productive. But I get the feeling it's not. I get the feeling you want more, that you want something different from life. And the distractions now are getting to that point. You're getting to that panic mode where you don't want to waste any more time. You want to get on with stuff. So here's what you do. It's the same as any other addiction. There are multiple paths you can take. There are multiple routes you can do in order to try and break the habit. Because again, what we're doing here is we're breaking a habit. You're habitually sitting down to watch videos. Number one, you can make it more difficult for yourself. There is plenty of free software that's downloadable that can block access to certain sites, including YouTube, for certain blocks of time, or at least make it more difficult for you to access it. Delete the app off of your phone if you have it. Search into ways of blocking it off of your browser. You're never going to make it impossible to access it, but if you can make it harder, you can give that voice in the back of your head more time to sink in. Maybe that voice can get there before you actively decide to start watching the videos. So that's number one, is make it more difficult. Don't make it so easily accessible to get to these videos, because that's going to make it easier to fall into the habit again. Number two is set yourself goals with it. So a goal might be to not watch a YouTube video for one whole day. And if you achieve that goal, if you manage a whole day without going to a single YouTube video, then you extend it. So then feel free, watch a few videos. Set yourself a time and watch a few videos. And then a week later, try to go 2 days. A week later, try to go 3 days. A week later, try to go a whole week without consuming any content. What you're trying to do is you're trying to break your dependency from it. You're trying to not do the thing that you don't want to do. And what's equally, if not more important, is the time that you now save from not sitting down and watching YouTube videos. It must be used to further yourself. It must be used for the very thing that you get angry that you're not doing when you're watching the YouTube videos. Because what you need to feel is that sense of satisfaction. You need to feel like you've done the thing that YouTube, or at least what you perceive as being YouTube, is stopping you from doing. And you need to feel the happiness from that and how it outweighs that mild, entertained feeling of watching the videos. Do you understand? What you want to feel from getting your studies done, from passing your test, from achieving that goal that you've set out for, that feeling that you'll get from doing that outweighs any amount of entertainment you can get from any video, online, on the TV, anything you can imagine. But until you expose yourself to that sensation, until you've been there and done it, you can't comprehend, you can't compare the two without having done it. So make it more difficult for yourself. Start taking planned breaks from the very thing that you feel is distracting you. And whilst you're on those breaks, actively pursue the things that you know you really want to be doing with your time and with your life. Confide in someone close to you. Let your parents know that you're trying to take a break from it, so that when they see you do it, when they become aware that you are on YouTube, they can call you on it. They can try to break you out of that automated cycle of clicking on and watching these videos one after the other. It's not easy, and these days I think it's just getting harder and harder. We spend so much more time on our screens, on things such as YouTube. It's almost replacing the way we watch TV. We're still sat on the sofa. We're still just kind of spaced out, but instead of watching on the TV, we're now just got it in our hand. It's even more accessible, it's even closer to us. And we can be so specific with the content we choose to watch. It's not just, oh, hope something's on that's mildly entertaining. You can find your niche and you can find those little things. So I completely sympathize with the struggle you're going through. But you owe it to yourself to do more with life than just spend it watching these videos. There is so much more out there to experience. There are such better sensations within yourself to experience that you just simply won't get through watching more and more videos. The exception to that being my videos. This is Az from Integrum Personal Development, wishing you well.